Let's talk about a bad habit that all of us struggle with to different degrees, but that will absolutely kill your potential, your ability to tap and hone unseen and unrealized potential in yourself. This habit will absolutely wreck that. Will stand in the way of you evolving yourself every time. So let's talk about what that is. Self-justification. It is a nasty habit that we all have, that we all tend to conceal, and it really is a function of the brain helping itself to mediate and rectify any conflicts of thought, any what they call in the psych world cognitive dissonance, holding two contrasting thoughts together at the same time. For example, like, I am a healthy person who cares about living long, and I'm a smoker. You really can't hold them side by side. So usually you'll self-justify if you don't want to quit or can't quit to, I've had a good life and I'll go when I go and I don't need to worry about living long, and so that you can keep the other thought, which is, I want to keep smoking, or I've tried and I've failed. So there are a lot of different examples of cognitive dissonance, which your brain doesn't like it. They are two disagreeing cognitions held together at the same time. And self-justification is a habit of the brain, as I mentioned, to help us not go into aftermath anguish about everything. And to perseverate or, go into kind of a self-examination over every little thing. It has algorithms of self-justification where you will tell yourself certain stories or narratives that fit whatever your pre-existing thoughts are. So why does this wreck your potential? Self-justification wrecks our potential because it creates a bubble that we live in, a bubble of what we want to believe about ourselves, about what's comfortable in, I am a good person and I do the right things and I have the right motives. And of course I wouldn't have, done anything negative in this situation. So it must be somebody else. Actually, there's a great book that I recommend. It's called Mistakes Were Made, in parentheses, Not by Me. I believe the authors are Tavris and Aronson. You can look it up on Amazon. But what it talks about is, why do we do this habit of justifying our behaviors, and in many cases examining and being very punitive about the behaviors of others. So you are surrounded by signals and messages and information about yourself all day long, about other people too, but it's a reflection in many ways of who you are and how you can grow and how you can improve your impact on other people. But if at the end of the day we park our minds in self-justification, we're going to see everybody else's opportunity for growth and improvement instead of our own. So I am going to share with you some ninja skills, some techniques that will take you to the next level of getting in control of this habit so that it doesn't wreck and impede your ability to constantly grow and use the information that's coming at you to improve yourself. So here are a few techniques I use. They are kind of like those secrets to breaking through that habit that can stunt a lot of people and getting above and beyond them. Okay, so the first thing, choose duty over moods. They'll talk about this a little bit in the book. Mistakes Were Made, Not by Me. In that book, they talk about how if in a situation you don't react from your mood base, but you ask yourself, what is my duty in this situation? What is my duty as a colleague, as an employee, as a parent, as a board member, as a whatever your duty might be? Go to duty when you feel led by mood, because your mood often will tell you you're in the right and they're in the wrong. And we'll give you all of these thought processes about how that other individual needs to do A, B, or C, which again blinds you from opportunities to tap new potential and growth that situation is telling you. So choose duty over moods. Always do that. Your mind will then populate with what is the right thing to do according to my duty in this situation. Do I speak up? Do I not speak up? Do I take on this battle? Do I not take on this battle? And it will elevate you out of that emotional current that often tells us falsities or half-truths. Second, observe yourself like you are observing someone else. This is a powerful secret. It takes a lot of humility, but I like to use the example, I think the book recommends thinking about your thoughts as like they're graffiti on the wall. And you're just walking by the thoughts. You don't have to own them just because you think them. There's that awesome quote, you can't stop birds from flying over your head, but you can prevent them from making a nest in your hair. Which means you can't prevent always the thoughts that you're going to think, but you can stop yourself from owning them. Just because they come into your brain, you don't have to own them and believe them, really. So I like to use the resetting technique, which helps me and has helped a lot of my leaders, is to picture whatever thoughts you're having about this situation or about the other person. Picture that you are in a conference room surrounded by the people that you respect and admire the most. And all of your thoughts are up on the big screen on a slide deck. And all of these people that you hold in high esteem are reading your thoughts up on that PowerPoint. How do you feel about your thoughts now? Would you like to edit them? Is there a better narration that you can use that would be more balanced, that you would feel more proud of owning those thoughts? And maybe they come from a more mature place of, instead of self-justification, they come from self-accountability, self-reflection, where you are using a dispassionate and somewhat critical lens to really step outside and observe you with the same sober eye that we tend to observe everyone else. So picture those thoughts up on the big screen. Do you want to edit them? Probably you do. Do you want to raise them up to the next level of maturity? You probably do. Third, power of me. I love this technique. And this means that when you self-justify and you go into a cycle of blame, or this is about somebody else, this is not about me, you essentially give away your power to improve that situation. You're putting it all on the other person, which makes you a victim. And anytime we enter into patterns of victimology, we will lose. Always. So look for, in every situation, what is the power of me? How can I look at what is going on and improve it? There's always something that you can utilize, whether it's tone or choosing to get off of email and call them instead, or go by their office, or whether it is choosing to apologize or own a piece of what happened and then open it up for discussion instead of blame, or quietly resenting someone versus really saying, you know what, I'm going to take steps to lean into this relationship and solve it. And then fourth, investigative listening. When you listen with an investigative ear, you are not going in with preconceived assumptions or ideas that you just want to support by what you hear. You are genuinely going in with an investigator's mindset. Anything could be relevant. There are no sacred cows. I'm really going to listen for all information about what is this telling me, with no self-defense, no self-justification guards. And we tend to immediately operate from, how can I defend myself in this situation? How can I find a glossy-eyed view about myself? Because that makes me feel better about me when I think of me in positive terms. But what we really should be doing to make sure that we are not caught in a blind spot, that we are not caught in a self-justification trap, is to look for evidence to support whatever that critical thing might be about us versus to defend it. First, look for evidence to support it. Okay, in this situation, am I the blocker? Am I the person who is complicating things or creating conflict or whatever? Let me look for information to support that. Am I somebody who maybe likes to create disruption or likes to create conflict or always wants to come at things with a contrarian point of view? Whatever it might be. If you get a sense that this situation is telling you this or someone is right out telling you that, look for evidence to support something that you maybe don't want to believe about yourself or you don't want to see about yourself before you look to defend it. You then can look to balance it by saying, okay, but what else is true about me? But always start in an investigative ear by pulling all information as neutral. Don't defend yourself. Have no sacred cows. Really look at it through that dispassionate, objective lens. And then first, if you find something that you don't like, that it says about you, and you kind of begin to get pulled into that self-justification, stop and say, okay, how might this be true of me? When has this been true of me? Look for examples to try to support it, and then you can balance it with, okay, what is also true? Not that you're going to find a place where you'll say, well, it is what it is, I'm moving on. But you want to look for, how am I deceiving myself in this situation by only pulling the positive examples? We never want to be caught in our own self-deception. Really, the worst lie that you can ever tell is to yourself. So those are some techniques to break that habit of self-justification that we all tend to conceal and struggle with, but absolutely will destroy your potential, because you will not be looking at life with a realistic lens. You will be looking at it to support what you already want to believe about yourself. But that's just stagnancy. That is a recipe to plateau and to stay exactly who and where you are. When we all should be upversioning, we all should be pushing into more and more of what we can become. I hope you enjoy those techniques, put them to use. They will work.